you and I have gone way back in terms of billable labor on a lot of infrastructure projects. If I were to put two integrators together, one that does the kind of maintenance contracting that I do, and one the kind of team that Ben Hurston has built, which is basically an HSQ with a mechanical construction team attached to it and a lot of growth. How do you feel about me helping him, let's say several days a month, in doing business development towards the projects that you and I have been discussing over the last couple of years that you can see me doing, but I'm going very slow. I'd like to amplify that pace dramatically with Ben helping me do it. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I think you're a great glue guy, as we'll say. There's these large projects, infrastructure projects, always have a lot of components, a lot of interaction, and quite frankly, a lot of opportunity to delve into other subsystems that maybe you might not have considered initially. You can increase scope, you can give scope away, you have to intelligently know when to do either. And, we've always been involved in situations where we have to be flexible. So the technology for the networking changes rapidly, for the computing, and now we have things like AI on top of it all that are probably going to change during the project month by month, in terms of the client may decide they read something and they say, hey, we didn't put that in the specs that we made 3 years ago because it didn't exist, but is there a way that we can do something like this? And being quick on your feet has become more and more important. You've always shown great proclivity for that. And, when we work together, we take advantage of such situations for the client's benefit. And ultimately, they get a better result and we get more business. So I think that's one thing that you can offer somebody, based on your past work.
That's great. I can only think of one other thing, which is that if I were to start using Ben's existing sphere of influence to get him work that is similar to the kind of scope of work that you and I have been doing, I think I could help him out a lot. So that's part of the business strategy of me working directly for Telstar, is that I could work with existing Telstar resources. Yet I also noticed that, for example, when you spoke about opportunity, LA, for example, has the Olympics coming up in 2028, right? And that's the reason why infrastructure is taken off in the area. I've even got an engineer friend from our old BART project that you and I did down there, who lives close enough that I can get incentivized for the fact that I would have a local business presence. So I am very much actively going to go after that. How do you feel about the dynamic of putting like two integrators together? How do you feel? Like, you and Ben know this business far better than I will, especially in terms of team planning. If you could please give me just another brief overview of how you and Ben would approach this if I came in and tried to direct the process a little bit.
I think that our industry, meaning the systems integration industry, really lacks experienced professionals that understand these complicated systems. And, to be able to team up with people that have been there, that have worked in all the different types of venues that we've had to deal with. We've done transit, we've done water, wastewater, power, hydropower, the music industry and so forth. And, they're different, but there's similarities. And after a while as an integrator, you take the skills that you learned in one and you apply it to the other. Sometimes to that industry's benefit, because there's kind of cross-pollination that occurs because of the experienced systems integrator going in and kind of going into different systems, rather than, a lot of younger people can be really good at certain specialties, but it takes a long time to be able to expand that. And it's becoming a less common trade, I think, that people do the jack of all trades things. And because it can be inefficient, but if you get over the hump, it becomes more efficient. And I think that's where you're at now.
I think it's good top line thinking too. And I think that helps us, because the one thing you and I never did was we didn't work on my business development at HSQ. I had actually left it kind of behind when I was an OEM machine builder doing machine vision for pharmaceutical industry. I did a little wastewater for a couple of years, and then you caught on to me, and I was like, I'll take it. you know. So I think this is great. I think that's exactly what I need, James. So I'm going to call it
back,
on that.
you know, with the customers, because if we consolidate, then we're, you know, comprehensive solution provider. I'd be able to do solution architecture, which is something that I'm going to be pursuing on my own either way. And I just want to make myself busier, you know. So, like, I've got new clients. Berkeley's Another Planet Entertainment is an old client. Greg Perloff still runs the place, runs a few festivals that are at the $20 million project level, and has a bunch of theaters that I want to help him rebuild. And he needs occasional contractors. He's got one in Sacramento, he's got one in San Francisco, he's got one in Los Angeles, and he also has one in Tahoe, which is close to Reno, where one of my former employers is, as well as down in LA, where I was doing aggregate and combustion clients. So I'm doing like Nevada and California. I do driverless auto tech too, just because light rail and, you know, conductorless vehicles is on my scope of work. I did 2.2 miles. I'm still authority at Golden Gate, and then I did about 5.5 miles for BART and VTA. I have no problems handing you my clients as I find them. The exceptions are this theater sphere of influence. If it's anybody who's paid me before, you know, that's an existing client, right? I'm going to keep that existing client. I'm going to continue billing the way Suresh and I already do it. I take care of my own liabilities. I have an errors and omissions policy. I'm fully insured, just like Telstar, including my equipment. I can produce events for audiences of up to 1,000 people, which includes like projection, film, and broadcast and streaming. You know, if I had my way, I'd be building concerts actually. But the industries where I've really gotten most of my work over the last 20 years, like machine vision, I've done a lot of OEM work, CCTV work, which is like incident response. Pharma, I've done a lot of line scan, a lot of real-time trained feeds like Cognex, Kiontz, and OptiTrack. I've included projects for pharma like in production repeatability and reproducibility services. I own a motion capture setup for visualization in life sciences. That's part of my film setup. My clients include like Bayer, OptiSolar, Nicorette. I made a nicotine patch machine one time. The Presidio tunnels do instant detection over 55 cameras. I've done wastewater for a couple of years. I did combustion for several years. I did HVAC actually through the pandemic years, as well as doing combustion work down in Los Angeles from like 2008 to like 2012. Real-time visualization and HMI, and then this infrastructure work that I've been doing for the last 8 or 10 years. Clients include like St. Mary's Hospital, BART, Golden Gate Theater, Warfield Theater. Rosendin does my fiber work still, and I've been a project manager for them. I've also got plenty of work referrals that I know I'd like to throw back and forth between like Skanska, Flatiron, Kiewit, you know, Rosendin Electric, the people that who have helped me before. And Skanska is the kind of projects that I'm getting in Los Angeles, and I'm really trying to follow them and try to scale up to the type of bids that I'm seeing come out of their workflow. I've done life safety and critical infrastructure like redundant, always on distributed system control over the entire factory floor. Always to the OSI model, including network, application server, you know, ATS, motor control centers, data transport layers. I can fully design, build, and maintain labs and clean rooms. So that includes even the instrumentation that's outside of traditional industrial pipelines, you know, and drawings. But then now that I'm doing like HVAC and the room and the acoustics control in like, let's say, a broadcast studio and places like that where they need different types of sensor level control over their processes, it's getting to the point where I can do all the different versions of the product, so I end up sounding like I can work through the design build stage with the clients. HMI is a bit of a specialty of mine. You know, I've gotten into this Unreal toolkit with HMI for being photorealistic and for advanced scientific visualization. I'm using SQL Server in and out. I'm using Modbus in every direction. I'm even using like MQTT when I do some embedded work, but Wasn't really doing a lot of that. Definitely not a lot of billable work on that. I can handle all the NIST, UL, IEEE standards, compliant to all of that. I have liability over my network issues, switches, fiber, copper, serial Ethernet, cybersecurity, distributed systems, CCTV. I'm taking care of all that business on my own at this point. I use my own subs for advanced work that includes networking or some incident detection services, but most of the stuff I do on my own. The only other 3 clients that might bring me work are like Honeywell, Bill Graham Presents, and Apple Computers, because I'm partnered with them as well. HSQ is probably not going to care because I kind of poached their VP to build my team. As I would head out to clients where Telstar thinks that I can immediately help, I'd like to get to know everybody on the team, short talks with each of them. The film idea sounds great. I can shoot, like an overview style video, which would go over some of the scopes of work. You're seeing kind of a slideshow version of it with this talk. I can get a flyer made. I do all my own graphics. I can handle making merchandise, metallic emblems for panels. Got a lot of languages. Been doing it for 20 years, just like your team. So, a lot of historians, a lot of different HMIs. My gear includes loop calibration, industrial labeler, an emblem setup, STIPA compliant PA acoustics test platform. I got into that when I was doing PAs for stations for light rail. I got a robust power tool setup, and a good network multimedia setup. Got my own truck and RV for power on the tools, and I'm accustomed to travel. That's why I'm trying to get this Los Angeles week. The vendors are all ready to do like some, Teams and Zoom meetings. We've got a mutual vendor or two as well. I noticed Max from Steven Engineering said he's like, you're like his 5th largest client, right? I know Karen Mitz down in Los Angeles. I worked for Steven Engineering at a distributor for Honeywell MRO. I'll be hitting that up for hints, fitting up to sell me parts for area projects if I'm doing even the slightest amount of work in LA, although I'm not sure what's going to grow when I start calling everybody, because that's just how sales goes all this time. I'm going to be continuing to do this regardless of how we position it. I know Mike Lapitan. We go back 20 years. I can write system level O&M manuals for your team. I can deal with factory process, writing theories of operation, writing specifications with customers. That seems to be one of my really shining examples of what people get satisfied with, is like when customers can design comprehensively with me, and I can just tell them that I'll just bring in subs for the stuff that I don't do as fast or as well. I do a good system block diagrams with customers because that helps me get my work done too. I'm a trainer. I have my code repos up on the web so that people can look at my Modbus to SQL Server infrastructure that I built for my OEM PLC. What I want, 6 days billable a month, normal rate, utilized on site as you wish, would be the ideal. And wherever your clients say I go. Sacramento Telstar office is easy for me, Thursdays and Fridays. I'll be doing a fair amount of work off days too, I'm sure. In fact, I may even take out a loan, and try to get after the LA work more aggressively because I already have some people down there. I want us to kind of reach a new level like that. My rate typically $90 an hour. That's what I charge Suresh. It's kind of invoiced in advance. I'm a net 10 kind of arrangement at the bridge. And so to me, it looks like kind of a maintenance contract would be the idea. And then I go after targeted clients that already exist on your side. I spend kind of a lot of time doing phone calls to my clients, hoping I get a little work from them, because then I can hoist you into the conversation with them and show them that my purpose is formal with what you're doing, and then I can reflect it on bid strategies that I do for these bigger projects, because the budget level of $20 million at each of these different type industries projects is working in my favor, because I'm realizing that I was doing project management at that level, which means I already know how the staffing requirements lay out. And James Wilkinson, my VP from HSQ, who's now working for me, he can help me do the estimates and help us align to your team once I understand things, because I communicate quite a bit about specs and scope of work with him. And, we go way back too. I can't really get back another Planet Entertainment without, they're big and spread out. And I just can't go after like original HSQ clients or any of these partnerships that I've got with some of these big corporate clients. So Telstar's the only way for me to get like that Rolodex on board, at that scale. You know what I mean? If you prefer, I spend 20% of the Telstar time on the new business and then the rest on, say, your business. Your bottom line is centered around billable hours, of course, project wholesale rates notwithstanding, but I do know how to do like contingency rates and rush rates. And just put me in front of the clients and give me the hard ones, and I can help prep it is the idea, and I'm still doing the troubleshooting when I need to. All your internal clients stay yours. All my internal discovered clients stay on the Suresh Pete billing model. My subs get their full rate. That's normal. As we learn and affirm our work, you can start handing me clients. That's what I'm really hoping you find productive out of this idea that I came up with. If we stop the growth project, we simply go back to what we were already doing. So it's not really that challenging to make the transition. It's really a matter of curiosity and seeing if we can scale up. Film gear, HMI assets, the technology library, my Unreal Engine asset library for visualization, and digital twins, all my web properties. That's all on me. And technical marketing, I know, equals kind of like sales engineering or design build. I would like to think that it's like a director of a technology platform. If I was directing Telstar's platform, would be the ideal state that I could be in if I go after these conversations. And maybe you put that on the business card. I do trade shows, chamber meetings. I am a soft closer. I give plenty of choices for budget to clients. I describe features with blunt force honesty. On occasion, I tell satirical stories. I basically kind of anecdote my way through real life scenarios with the customers nowadays because I've just been doing it so long. Customer interaction is kind of where I can get things done. Every team needs a guide, but we can still all get to know each other. It's a fun team culture. I've seen it already. You're curious about the customer demand in a twist and scope like this. Great. If I find a new theater client, for example, I'll charge how I do at Golden Gate and keep them even if we stop our agreement. Let's say I find billable work for an existing Telstar client, though. This will be fulfilled by your full rates, as if I just closed a sale for your team, as if I was working there. The same deal, as you already had for any type of sales entity. I'm going to be okay with any projects we do either way, and as long as they're short, as we want to try it. You're responsible for your recent growth, which I'm really excited about for you. I've seen a lot of growth with what I've been doing, and I've been investing in my infrastructure and all my tool sets and all my ability to travel so that I can be more of a business developer as well as an engineer. I still feel that that's kind of both my personalities professionally. I'm 6 figures less than a full-time tech salesperson, so I know that I can do contract style work like this already because I'm already doing it. My basic philosophy fiscally is like, don't spend money on me, spend money on you in such a way that it helps me.